Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. Joanna Cherry is pushing through a private members bill, or at least attempting to, that will do something I think will benefit everyone in Scotland. It will certainly benefit the legal system. It will make justice fairer, and it will remove abuses of power from the ruling party, whoever it will be. At the moment, obviously, the SNP, but it will be in future. It will just weaken the power of the executive somewhat with regards to power over the judiciary. Joanna Cherry herself, of course, is a KC. She's an intelligent, legally minded woman, and she's pushing this bill through at Westminster in order to change the rules of devolution in Scotland. And we're going to take a look at this because it is a beneficial and good thing. Whether, of course, it gets through is a different matter, but it looks like there's a lot of cross-party support for it. So it's very good chance of it happening. You do need a lot of cross-party support for a private member's bill to get through. They do occasionally. But we'll take a look at this, see what's going on, and see why it is such a good idea. Here goes. Right, this will be the last video of the day, short of there being some kind of emergency or major breaking news. So I'll take this opportunity, the last opportunity of the day, to ask you to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're a regular viewer who's yet to subscribe, please do. It massively helps the channel. And if you're a new viewer, also join us as we search for the truth and try and expose all the shady shenanigans of the SNP. But getting into this, so we have this rule that requires a change of devolution in order to split the roles of the Lord Advocate of Scotland and also of the government's chief legal advisor. Currently, Dorothy Bain holds both roles, so she's in charge of the judiciary, but also sits as a member of the cabinet in Holyrood, and to have therefore the executive controlling the judiciary is quite wrong. So this is Cherry now. She's saying, I expect cross-party support for plan to reform the Lord Advocate's role, and she's getting this now. So an SNP MP says there is cross-party support for her bid to allow Holyrood to split the role of the Lord Advocate, the head of Scotland's prosecution service on one hand, and also the Scottish Government's top legal advisor on the other. Joanna Cherry KC said her private member's bill would set right a historical anomaly by allowing these two elements of the role to be held by different people. So obviously the one that was the legal advisor would sit in cabinet, and the one who's the head of judiciary would sit outside of cabinet and would be independent from the government. A 10-minute rule bill is due to be heard at Westminster later in the week. And we want to hope that it's not only heard, it's agreed, it's pushed through, and that it goes on to become law, which can do quite quickly on a short 10-minute bill like this. Speaking to the BBC's Good Morning Scotland programme on Monday, she said she did not intend criticism of the current Lord Advocate, Dorothy Bain, but there has been long concern about a potential conflict of interest in the two parts of the job. Indeed, if you've got political oversight of what is supposedly an independent judiciary, it will always be seen as being conflictive. And of course, there's Dorothy Bain herself. She cannot wear two hats, basically. Otherwise, she could be in a position where she'd be telling the judiciary to find against the government of which she is sitting in the cabinet. There's no independence there, is there? She said, because of the reservations in the Scotland Act, it is not open to the Scottish Parliament to create a new law officer nor a new public prosecutor. For that to happen, there'd have to be devolution of the power from Westminster to Holyrood in order for this to happen. And she said that's what her 10-minute rule private members bill is designed to do. It's to devolve not the creation of many roles, but just simply to enable this one split of one particular role to occur so that two people hold the two parts of the job and thus make the judiciary independent whereas the legal advice would be a cabinet position. And I would suspect on that, if that was the case, Dorothy Bain would go over to the legal side and become independent from the government. Anyway, she said that she's reconsidering the role was part of the SNP manifesto, and while she expected cross-party support from Labour, the Conservatives and the Lib Dems and Alaba, because they've got a couple of MPs. A number of events in recent years, of course, have exposed the tension in the role, she said, including the investigation into Alex Salmond, the Rangers' malicious prosecution scandal, and the ongoing police investigation into SNP's finances. Yeah, and where Dorothy Bain has said, "Oh, there's no case to answer on some of these things," when there quite clearly is. Concern about the Lord Advocate's role went even further back, she argued, saying that it is a historical anomaly that was rubber-stamped by the Scotland Act. And of course it should have been done 25 years ago when they were trying to do the Scotland Act. But lack of oversight, lack of foresight, people not considering at the time that it was in any way important, or people deliberately deciding to keep them together. Who knows? Anyway, the Scottish Government has committed to reviewing the Lord Advocate's role, and Miss Cherry's bill would allow Holyrood to amend the law officer's role. And I think everyone can agree that it needs to change. You need to remove any kind of power by the executive over the independence of the judiciary. The three pillars of state need all to be independent of each other. Miss Cherry also criticised comments by Mary Black, who said some of her SNP colleagues had grown too comfortable in Westminster. We've covered that story. We did a copy of that. Yeah, we did a cover of that yesterday, where she was complaining about Mary Black. The Edinburgh South West MP said Miss Black's comments were not appropriate, given that she is the deputy leader of the Westminster Group, and that some SNP MPs are facing difficult fights to hang on to their seats. She said the SNP is not an abstentionist party, and adding that Mary Black needs to live up to her responsibility to give the post over to someone who will. And she said, "I'm hoping that Mary Black will apologise to her colleagues this week." I wouldn't bet on it. I wouldn't bet on Mary Black apologising to anyone. She's a charmless, obnoxious, oik, really. Pretends to be what she's not. Very middle class, pretends to be working class. Pretends that she likes Kit Kats, although she does apparently like to crumble them into dust and put that dust up her nose. It's not how I eat my Kit Kat. Anyway, but she does get the finest Colombian Kit Kats, though. So maybe that's something to do with it. Anyway, there we go. So that's something I think most people would agree with Joanna Cherry over, splitting the role and removing political oversight away from the judiciary in Scotland. So good luck with her bill, I think. Regardless of your party support, it's just a sensible move. Anyway, I shall round off there. I shall come up and we shall finish the final video of the day. So as I say, do please hit the subscribe button. Anyway, going to come up and finish. Yeah, I do say before, I do have a lot of time for Joanna Cherry, and I do think, all things being equal, she would have made an excellent Tory MP. She's certainly intelligent. She sees the consequences of her action. It makes you wonder why a woman educated and intelligent, far-seeing and that, would join the SNP. I get that she wants independence, but there's other ways of achieving it, and it's just weird. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for watching the whole of the day, and go and enjoy your Monday evening. I am going to go and enjoy mine, but do please hit that subscribe button. Let's build the channel. Let's get the truth out there. And we are nearly at 9,100, so that's another little target, a little target now, not the big target. The big target, of course, now is 10, but maybe the end of February for that one. But let's see if we can get to 9,001 the next day or so. Until then, stay safe, stay well, and I will speak to you probably tomorrow, unless something major happens this evening. Bye.